This podcast is part of the Gonna Geek Network. The opinions expressed may not represent other podcasts or affiliates of Gonna Geek. Check out more podcasts at GonnaGeek.com and get ready because geekness starts in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance level 10. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents of equal or higher security clearance.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent Lauren.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 39, San Diego Comic-Con Ant-Man panel. This podcast is recorded Thursday, August 28th, 2014. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the television show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the general Marvel Universe.
Because we all know I know more about Pym particles than you do.
Ooh.
The correct response there was, it's on.
It's on.
We also have lots of ways you can contact us, including our website, legendsofshield.com, our voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1, 844-843-2871, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr by searching for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We also have forums available at forums.gonnageek.com or by searching Gonna Geek on the Tapatalk app.
Lots of ways to contact us, and it's very important to contact us right now because we have a giveaway contest going on for a Coulson's badge. We're going to end this on September 3rd, but what you have to do is call in our voicemail line at 844-THE-BUS-1 and tell me why I'm wrong, although I still don't know why we're doing this, but tell me why I'm wrong. Make it funny, make it interesting. The ladies will judge, and then we will get the badge out to the winner.
Well, it proves that the listener has listened to a single podcast and found a single instance of you being wrong.
The pain. It's not really that bad.
Doesn't cut that deep.
All right. Well, what we did get this week, we didn't get any entries into the badge contest, but we did, right after we recorded our last podcast, we got a voicemail from our pal, Willie Nelson. So here we go.
Hello, this is a fan of the show, Willie Nelson again. Just spitballing here. I had an idea for, into one of the Avengers 2 or 3. It could be either one. Imagine that after they beat the bad guy, whoever it may be, Hulk just starts going crazy. And if you've ever seen the animated movie, The Avengers, at the end of that, where Hulk just goes crazy and fights everybody, now imagine that when they take him down, they think, let's shoot them back out into space and see, put them on a nice peaceful planet, because we can't be having them here tearing down everything. And that's how they start Planet Hulk in the live-action movie series. Just spitballing out there, that's how they could jumpstart it. Well, I'll keep listening if you keep putting them out. Thanks again.
Planet Hulk. Do you think they're going that way because of the Hulkbuster suit?
Between that and the Sakarans from Guardians of the Galaxy, it does seem like they're giving little nods to it, but they have said in the past that they haven't wanted to go that direction. But they seem to be doing a really good job of misdirecting us into thinking that they're going to go that direction if they don't plan to go that direction.
I mean, what's the point? Just to have a surprise ending to Avengers 2 or Avengers 3?
Well, we all know everybody loves Mark Ruffalo. The thing is, Planet Hulk, as far as I can remember, was less about Bruce Banner and more about just the Hulk.
Well, he'd still play him. He'd still voice him over. He'd still...
Actually, Lou Ferrigno voiced the Hulk.
Really? Oh.
Yes.
What was his face, though, right?
It was, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, Willie, it's an interesting proposition. We have no evidence that will actually happen, but hey, I could see it. They've got to start going in different directions pretty soon, and they've already entered into space with both Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy now, so why not?
I really don't see this Avengers team choosing to kick the Hulk off the planet, though.
No, it would have to be a different circumstance than it was in World War Hulk, or in Planet Hulk. World War Hulk was what happened when he came back to Earth. Because he was angry about being kicked off. I mean, imagine that.
Don't anger the Hulk, because
I mean, your friends trick you into getting into a rocket and shooting you off into space. Oh, it's just the kind of thing that you just forgive and forget, right?
Bruce was never forgiving about the chamber that was in Avengers. He didn't seem like he was going to let that one slide.
I mean, how do we even know that chamber was going to drop him out? How do we know that chamber wasn't going to shoot him off into space to begin with?
Yeah, maybe.
Nick Fury's plan. Space Hulk.
Which
is, by the way, a completely different property. And Games Workshop will probably sue me if I mention it again, so I won't.
Well, I mean, from the rocket scientist standpoint, if you do launch a rocket from a higher altitude thing like the carrier it was up at, 30, 50,000 feet, you do end up gaining a lot of pluses in terms of weight to orbit. So, yeah, I can see that happen. In any event, Willie, thank you very much for the voicemail. Keep them coming. We'll keep talking about them. So this week, our favorite recent Marvel movie regained its #1 spot in the box office over The Turtles.
Woohoo!
Woot.
Hands off the turtle.
Right now, we're recording on Thursday, August 28th, and the domestic box office is at $256.7 million. Worldwide, they're at $502 million. The domestic box office is actually about to overtake Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Wow.
But it's not doing as well internationally as Cap did.
People are all transformered out. Well, we'll see where it finally ends up. I was scratching my head when I saw it slowing down, going, I don't think it's going to get to 750 in the box office. Now, it might make 750 or $1 billion when you consider all the DVD sales and everything else, but we'll see. Keep going, though. I want to see it succeed. I might actually go see it again this weekend.
I was hoping to go see it one more time last weekend, but it didn't end up working out, which is really too bad.
Well, regardless, whether we see it or not, one person we're going to see definitely is Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, we've got a first look at Lucy Lawless in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, it looks like Lucy Lawless in a business suit. So they've got that going for them.
That looks familiar. Wasn't she in a business suit in, Parks and Rec, right?
Not really so much a business suit, I don't think.
I think I remember her wearing a jean jacket a lot.
Yeah.
Or maybe a leather jacket. I don't remember.
Well, there was also Burn Notice too, right?
I haven't seen Burn Notice.
Yeah.
She was on that. I know Tricia Helfer was on that.
I think she was around then. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I like Burn Notice, but I was never able to really watch it consistently. And she's not in Roman attire like she is on Spartacus, which I will be watching later tonight.
Yeah, I'm still slogging through the early episodes, so I really...
Oh, which one are you on right now?
I'm rewatching the first one. I'm halfway through it.
Okay, it gets
the first season. Better. Yeah, the first season gets better with every single episode.
Right until the thing in the pit, the 4th episode, it's kind of a rough slog until then the first time through. When you go back and you rewatch it and you're like, oh, this is where this becomes important.
Yeah. Well, I'm having a good time with it right now. It's just finding the available time. So when you produce a podcast, your available free time goes way down. Imagine that. Anyway, we're still having fun watching it. I'm going to have fun watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well as all the other shows that I watch. And Haley, just as a blind plug here, you had fun watching your first episode of Series 8 of Doctor Who last weekend, didn't you?
Right. The first one for the podcast. I got to see it 3 times in about 12 hours.
And it's not just a normal episode. It's almost 2 hours when you factor in commercials and everything.
Yeah, for commercials.
I need to rewatch it with the volume on.
Oh.
Well, see, I was out of town visiting some friends this weekend. And I was like, well, I've been watching the Who Marathon all day, so I might as well just leave it on. And they're like, but we're going to play board games, so you can have it on, but you need to have the volume off. So usually I'll, watch with captions anyway. So I'm like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. But the thing is that I kept getting sucked into the board game. And so I'd look up and I'm like, okay, I don't really know what's going on. There's a dinosaur. Why isn't he saying the F word? I'm used to Peter Capaldi saying the F word a lot.
They just didn't put it in the captions.
They really should have.
But no, Vostra and Ginny are awesome in this episode. It's really good.
It is. It's one of my favorite, I don't know, top 10 definitely, but it's a really good episode. And if you want to hear more about it, go listen to Haley on Gallifrey Public Radio. It's the Doctor Who podcast on the GonnaGeek.com network. But also, talking about new things, we have a rumor about Doctor Strange. Actually, we got a couple of rumors, but we definitely have a rumor on Doctor Strange.
Yeah, right now the rumor is that Joaquin Phoenix is almost surely going to play Doctor Strange, that they're just finalizing contract negotiations and things at this point.
This isn't the first time that I've heard this rumor. And I will also note that yesterday it was that Jack Houston, who played Richard Harrow on Boardwalk Empire, who was like the best character, was almost certain to play Doctor Strange. And the day before that, it was Daniel Radcliffe.
Right.
And then last week, it was Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right. So
And
if
then
we
last
delayed,
month, it was Tom Hardy. So,
like, who's going to act Doctor Strange is the new who's going to direct Ant-Man.
Which right now is Peyton Reed, which we'll talk about later.
yeah, seriously, Oded Fair. Not going to give it up.
Right. In the meantime, we're hearing a lot of rumors about Captain America 3 and who's going to be in it. And, well, basically, nobody's not going to be in it.
Fun for everybody.
Yeah. They're saying Sebastian Stan is probably going to be back playing Bucky, and that Hawkeye is going to be playing a role in Cap 3.
Ugly. Just remember that from last week. Well, I mean, I saw one article basically stating that, is this the end of the single character Marvel movie? And I'm like, well, we've really been at the end of that for a very long time. I think the last one that we've really seen that was a single character was Thor.
Iron Man 3. Well, yeah, Thor.
Thor 2, except Loki was kind of a Loki-Thor team-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Iron
thinking
Man.
anything after Avengers.
And even Iron Man 3 was kind of a Tony Rhodey team up at the end.
And a little bit of
And Pepper.
Yeah. So
Should have been more Pepper.
just I'm not really seeing the single person anymore. Yeah, I just don't think it's a business model that Marvel wants to go down.
Well, and at this point, they've got like so many awesome characters. It seems a shame to just have one of them at a time.
Right. I don't think we're ever going to see it again. Or if we do, it'll be a totally unknown. Or somebody that hasn't played around in the universe before, like whenever we get to the Black Panther movie.
Maybe that's going to be where they're going to do like their Netflix stuff, is like the single character. And then the movies are going to be like the big group affairs.
Could be. Captain America 3 is going to rock.
Oh my God, yes.
I saw another story that said the producers of Captain America 3 were saying, heck yeah, DC was smart to move away from us.
Did y'all, okay, this doesn't have anything to do with that, but did y'all hear that rumor about DC having a no joke policy in their movies?
No.
Okay, this has been like the current talk as of like, I guess yesterday, that they want to take their movie universe so seriously that there is pretty much like a no joke policy. And it's all rumor and it's all unconfirmed. But there was somebody that I saw on Twitter, like there was this big long string of retweets of that I saw. I can't remember if it was today or yesterday. Somebody saying DC versus Marvel has moved out of people, hanging out and talking with their friends. Now, like the studio execs are the ones who are taking this just deadly serious.
Well, I mean,
and I don't have any doubt of that.
It's a lot of money on the table.
Exactly. And the approach, I mean, okay, so I've had Man of Steel on my DVR since it premiered on HBO, and I still haven't watched it yet. I keep meaning to, but I still haven't watched it.
I watched it once.
I am given to understand that whatever the tone of that movie is going to be the tone of the DC universe for the next however many years. However, we've seen what the tone for Marvel is. Yes, it takes itself seriously in that it's a consistent universe. And other than that, it's like, okay, this exists. There are stakes, but we're still going to have fun with it. And that seems to really be working. And I'm not sure if the grimdark approach is going to be working at this point.
Here's my take on DC's plan for a universe. Christopher Nolan created this really dark, gritty Batman universe, but it was like, the other heroes can't really exist in this universe, so we're going to start over. And then they just had him build the exact same universe around Superman instead. I
liked the lightening of the Superman universe over the Batman universe that we saw with the Christopher Nolan movies, but it's still dark. Yeah, it's not my favorite stuff, but I did enjoy Man of Steel.
I enjoyed the Krypton parts.
Yeah, that was amazing. That should have been its whole movie unto itself. That would have been fantastic.
See, I was really looking forward to it because I really, really like Michael Shannon, the guy who played Zod, who's also in Boardwalk Empire.
Henry Cavill's really pretty.
Henry Cavill is very pretty. Amy Adams, also very pretty.
And then there's the rest of the movie.
But what you're really going to sell is the fun movie that Marvel has decided to go on at the right times, at the start of the summer season, around the holidays, that sort of thing. And it's a
good balance of fun and emotion. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier have both made me cry. I am not ashamed to admit that.
Yeah, neither made me cry, but I felt the emotion. I'm not saying I'm not a crier or anything, but...
You're just saying there's no crying in baseball.
Getting back to the Kevin Costner, in the Man of Steel. Kevin Costner made the Man of Steel to me, but in any event, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. And for fans, I mean, you can't ask for a better setup of Marvel versus DC, who has the better universe, who has the better approach, whatever. This is great. Both are gonna sharpen their blades and get better and better because they are trying to up one each other over money. And to do that, they have to entertain us. So that's good.
It is kind of awesome seeing the high stakes version of the stuff that we all talked about on the playground when we were kids.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of money behind it. I know that, it's not like this is a war or anything. It's just entertainment. But I mean, there's the part of me that would just I was 7 years old and going to war over the X-Men versus the Justice League. That's just kind of vicariously pleased. And I shouldn't, because all people's fandoms are valid, and Batman is somebody liking Batman is just as good as somebody liking Iron Man. And everybody has a place. I disagree,
especially when that person is Nightwing.
That's fair.
One of these days I'm going to get him a Nightwing body pillow.
I just want the DC Universe movies to last long enough to make a Wonder Woman movie, and I want it to do better than all the other DC movies before the whole franchise implodes.
It just might.
I want them to bring back Birds of Prey and do it not cheesy. I liked that show.
I just watched the Bird of Prey episode in season 2 of Arrow for Starling Tribune. That was a good episode.
Yes, it was.
I mean, if you want to talk DC versus Marvel, Arrow and the DC universe is great. And it's such a shame that the DC has stated that the TV universes will not collide with the movie universes. Their decision, possibly their mistake, whatever. Arrow is a great show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a big, there's a lot of success in Arrow season 2 for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to live up to in its season 2. So we'll see how it goes. And talking about that, we've seen some strange billboards around town lately.
Yes, we have. First off, and I remember seeing this on Twitter, ABC unveiled an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. billboard that was, you remember that pattern that we were all like, well, what is it? The one we were like, well, is it a circuit? Is it a map?
Yeah,
and it was just the kind of scratched out thing that looks vaguely like an electronic pattern. And then this appeared on Barham, I can't pronounce names, and DeWitt in Hollywood. And then a week later, less than 2 weeks later, one portraying Coulson drawing it appeared with the new time this fall on there. So we'll see if it changes again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to see them just kind of change it incrementally as it gets closer.
Well, at least they're acknowledging and trying to bring back the big mystery from the end of season 1. Well, one of the big mysteries anyway, because there's several of them. But one of the mysteries is what the heck is he drawing out and what's in his brain and everything like that. So there are some big things to answer at the start of season 2 to walk us down this path. And these billboards are fantastic.
I just thought, what if it's a machine that, we don't know if the Terrigen Mists really exist, but we are all pretty sure that the Inhumans are a thing, right? We're 99% sure. So what if this is some machine that takes advantage of the Terrigen Mists, whatever their answer is to that, and they're trying to, like, it's buried somewhere in the heads of these people who have been affected by this derivative of that. And they're trying to, like, make more Inhumans.
That could be really interesting.
Like, because it does look like some sort of schematic.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
does.
I'm going to forget that I said this. So somebody remind me whatever that drawing is revealed, whether I was right or wrong. Because I promise you I will forget.
Ooh. Okay, so to get Fitz out of his coma, they give him like some transfusion or something, and then he's got it in his head, except he can actually build it.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
And then the team's all divided between like the people with the stuff in their head who think they should do it, and the rest of the team that's like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Does he get a monkey?
Maybe. As a reward for like not dying.
If he gets a monkey, I'm all for it.
With his wee little monkey hands.
I'm waiting for it, Lauren. Come on, come on.
Science babies.
There you go. There you go.
There was a post on Tumblr this week.
Oh, I know which one
the
you're talking
Science
about.
Babies one. But I'm like, yes, I'm not the only one who says it.
Oh, well, it's like when Simmons was talking Coulson into officially making Trip a member of the team, and he was like, oh, I could watch the Science Babies for you.
And Fitz is like, I'm not a science baby. And Simmons like, I could be your science baby.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're all anxiously awaiting. What are we? 3 weeks away now? 3 or 4 weeks away from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So
It's
really
getting closer, and at the same time, it's not soon enough.
yes. Can't wait for it to start. Moving on, we actually had an interesting deal with Donald Glover as Spider-Man.
Yes. Okay, so technically, it's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, it is a Marvel show on TV.
Is it all connected?
Possibly. I mean, Coulson is on this show.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man is the cartoon that replaced Spectacular Spider-Man, and I was so angry for so long. But it's actually really funny, and it actually has Clark Gregg as Coulson posing as a high school principal to like keep an eye out on these teenage superheroes.
That may be the most perfect thing I've ever heard.
It really is.
It'd be great.
It is so fantastic. That was what sold me on it.
He would have been so great in Buffy.
Yes, he would have. And they are having an upcoming episode called Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors, which will take Peter Parker through various parallel worlds, which is kind of what's going to be coming up in the comics with Spider-Universe, something like that. And Donald Glover, who was kind of the inspiration for this character to begin with, will be voicing Miles Morales, who in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics took over after Peter Parker died. It's not a spoiler. It's been out for years.
He dies. He gets better. He dies.
No, he doesn't.
Oh.
In Ultimate Universe, he's dead. He is dead. He got killed by the Green Goblin. He bled out and died. It was incredibly sad. And Miles, who had been saved by him like sometime before, was watching his funeral and was like, somebody's got to do something. And he ended up, it's this whole good origin story. You actually read the comics, and even better, read Spider-Men, which is a crossover that's similar, where Miles and 616 Peter meet. And oh God, that comic makes me cry so much. And the art's amazing and the writing's really good. But Donald Glover will be voicing Miles Morales, who was created after Donald Glover went out and was saying, you know, anybody could be Spider-Man. It's a mask. He could be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever under there. And so they were like, you know, we're killing him off in the comics anyway. Why not replace him with somebody else? So you have Miles Morales, who's half black and half Hispanic. And it's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to watch it. And Donald Glover is great.
Yeah.
And it's proof that sometimes things happen and things are good. And they are going to be addressing the fact that in the universe where Miles Morales comes from, Peter Parker is dead.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Of course, there's been all sorts of play in this theme and whatever. The last one I really remember that was done really well was, I can't remember what season was. It was like 8, 9, or 10 of Stargate SG-1, where they actually brought Terry Rothwell back as Dr. Frazier.
Yeah. No, I read that one. I think it was...
Oh, was it the
8.
one where like a bunch of teams kept coming in from other dimensions?
Kept coming in, and one of them had Janet on the team instead of Sam because Sam was pregnant. Oh God, that one made me cry so bad. I love Janet.
Right, and I really like the multiple alternate universe themes, whatever. Heck, even the last Star Trek reboot that was done in 2009 for the movies was that similar thread. So all good things. All good things. Also, Marvel, moving on here, has some updated plans for its Netflix.
Yes, Latino Review has an interview with Netflix Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos, and they're talking with Empire Magazine about the Marvel Netflix series. Like, they're like, well, do you think that you could take the Defenders, which is this team that it's going to be like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Power Man. No, Power Man is Luke Cage. Iron Fist. I mean, you'd think I'd remember with a name like that, but I always forget about Iron Fist. And in the comics, I think Doctor Strange was also one of the Defenders.
Yes, and the Hulk a lot of the times, too.
Yeah. And do you think that you'll be able to do kind of the same thing that we did with Avengers? And he said, yeah, it's based on that same theatrical model. Could you take this group of characters and have it go the same way? But since they're going to have time to like let it breathe, because they have basically 13 hours to tell each of these characters' origin story. How will Daredevil differ from the 2003 movie? Well, they're going to go darker. Let's see. They're talking about crossovers. Well, we have like, it's been hinted that we'll have like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy meets the Avengers. Quote, are the Defenders going to be invited to the party? It has definitely been talked about. So that makes me hopeful. And right now, and this is what has me the most excited, the writers' rooms are open and they're looking at casting Jessica Jones.
Nice.
Yes. And that apparently the costumes are going to be more down to earth. So we'll see exactly how down to earth they get with like Daredevil and Iron Fist, because Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are already basically just in street clothes. But then you have Iron Fist, who's running around in like yellow and green kung fu pajamas and little booties. And of course, Daredevil with the red
leather
mask. Well, it was red leather in the movie. And then it's just kind of like red spandex in the comics.
Maybe they'll go with his original costume and it'll be black and yellow spandex.
And they'll make a joke about it for sure. But Netflix is an interesting platform. It will be very interesting to me to see how the comic book superhero does in that sort of form.
It's like getting a trade instead of having to get the individual issues.
Ah, yes.
Right. But we'll see how it does in comparison to TV and in comparison to the movies and in comparison to other Netflix series. And lastly, in our news section, we ran across an article that made us all think about the differences between the Phase 1 and Phase 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay, this is an opinion piece that was written also on Latino Review about, well, the title of it is The Secret Tying Marvel's Phase 2 Together, Love and Its Many Sacrifices. And it's by Mark N. Kleinhans. And it's a long article. I think it's worth a read. And it's basically boiling down to the point that the Phase 2 movies that we've seen so far, Iron Man 3, Thor 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy, are all, and Cap 2, are all much smaller in scope and all revolve around the theme of love and its loss. I mean, you have Iron Man 3, which is all about Tony being afraid to lose Pepper. You have Thor 2, which is about Thor's love for Jane and love for Loki and thinking that he's lost Loki and all that. You have Cap 3, which is... Cap 2. Jeez, I'm already... There's too many numbers.
Yeah, there is.
Oh my God. You have Winter Soldier.
There you go.
Which is about Cap and Bucky and their big thing. And him trying to deal with that. And yes, there's the Hydra stuff, but at its core, that's what it's about.
See, I disagree. I think it's all about the Agent 13 love story setup.
It's clearly a Bucky Steve story.
Agent 13.
And the other woman, Falcon.
Yes, it's the OT3 there. And then you have Guardians of the Galaxy, which is about these really lonely people finding each other and becoming stronger for it. So we'll see what the next few movies, if they keep running with that theme and how they deal with it.
Well, we're out of Phase 2 movies, right? It's Avengers is the next one up, right?
Or it's capping this phase. Ant-Man will be the first Phase 3 movie.
Oh, yeah. Again, too many numbers. I think I need another sandwich.
So we're all out of Phase 2 single movies before, well, assuming that Phase 2 ends with Avengers 2, and I think we're all assuming that right now, so let's just go with that assumption. So we have the original Phase 1 movies, which largely are origin stories, building up to the bigger universe building. And then we have the Phase 2 movies, which are really character introspectives. And, love stories, yeah, I see them. They're in all of them, especially with the Cap 2 with Agent 13. But really what I see is knowing the individual more, and the way they bring that out is through these relationships. And okay, so now that we have a better rounded character, you can actually do more, especially in an ensemble movie like Avengers 2 is going to be.
I can't wait for Avengers 2. Why does it have to be so long away? I want to see what the main theme of that one is going to be about, because we've already had like the gathering together.
Ultron? I'm just taking a stab.
You know what I mean.
Please enlighten me. I'm a comic book noob. I don't know.
No, I mean, just in terms of like, the first one, much like Guardians of the Galaxy, was about people realizing that they're stronger as a whole.
Right.
Like they're stronger together.
Well, maybe, with some of the new characters they're going to introduce, you've got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, possibly Winter Soldier in there as well, and the Vision. Maybe it's the old Avengers reaching out to a new group that needs to be part of a team.
Could be. I would like Lady Sif to be in Avengers.
I would not argue with that.
I could see it would be difficult to go...
I want Sif, I want Falcon, I want Captain Marvel.
Well, I could see a lot of secondary characters that are on Earth already. Sif might be... Well, I mean, we've already seen her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it might be a bridge too far for the movie.
A rainbow bridge too far?
It could be. Also, I doubt we're going to see any of the Guardians in it, but I don't know.
All of a sudden, Rocket and Groot show up and save the day.
By dancing.
Yes. We all know that Groot's dancing can solve all problems.
Bring it back. Well, it'll be interesting once Phase 2 is officially capped off and they start or commence Phase 3 to look back on Phase 1 and Phase 2 and see if we were right. I think we're almost at that point right now, but you just never know. Phase 2 might go on a little bit further. In the meantime, starting off Phase 3, at least what we assume to be Phase 3, is going to be Ant-Man. And this week, we took a look at the San Diego Comic-Con Ant-Man panel, which it was basically one big panel between Avengers and Ant-Man. It was called the Marvel Cinematic Universe panel, and they started off with Ant-Man, about a quick 14-minute panel without any video in it. And we managed to get some audio of that. I'm going to play the audio right now so you can listen to the great Ant-Man cast come together and Kevin Feige trying to harangue it with Chris Hardwick. And we're going to comment on the panel after it's done. And are you ladies ready to listen to the panel?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Feige! Welcome, Mr. Feige. How are you?
I'm very, very good.
Good.
Hello? Now,
How are you feeling?
I snuck out there to watch that piece with you guys because it still blows my mind that Guardians of the Galaxy, that comes out next Friday.
I saw it, by the way. I went to you let me come to the premiere, and it is honestly... It is beyond any, and I swear I'm not just saying that because you're here, but James Gunn has managed to make a visually stunning film that is hilarious.
He pulled it off.
And action. Absolutely go see it.
But it is our 10th Marvel Studios movie. The 10th movie that takes place in our cinematic universe, and I can't believe it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it, because it always starts in this room. It always starts with you guys in this room. From Jon Favreau walking out there in 2000, whatever, 6 or 7, it's been amazing. And we put that piece together just for this room. And it's very, very cool. And what's exciting, particularly this year, is we had a movie called Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Guardians comes out this Friday, and I love the notion that you guys are just as excited for a part 2 or a part 3, something that you've already seen before, the next adventure, but you're just as excited for something fresh and something new with Guardians. And what we're going to talk about today is 2015, where we're doing a very similar thing. We have a movie called Avengers Age of Ultron that comes out.
I've heard of it.
And then we have something new. Ant-Man is finally coming out. And you want to meet some people involved in Ant-Man? All right. The director of Ant-Man, Peyton Reed. This is the first time visiting Comic-Con for both of the Ant-Man I'm about to introduce you to, Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas. Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, here he is. First time. The villain of our piece, his name is Darren Cross. We also call him the Yellow Jacket in the film, Corey Stahl. And there have been some rumors recently about who's playing this part in the film, but now finally confirming, no more rumors, playing the daughter of Hank Pym, Hope Van Dyne, Evangeline Lilly. Excellent.
Your 2015 Ant-Man cast. Let's start with Peyton Reed, who, if you had any question as to whether or not Peyton might be the right guy for this job, what number of Comic-Con, San Diego International Comic-Con, is this for you, Peyton Reed?
This is my 20th anniversary visit to Comic-Con. 1994 was the first summer I went to Comic-Con. It was the year Jack Kirby passed away, and I have been every year since then, I think minus a couple of years when I was shooting.
And what was the punk band in high school that you were in?
Oh, yes.
I was a drummer for a time in the 80s in a punk band called Johnny Quest, and thank you. And in addition to being the drummer, I was in charge of drawing the flyers for the shows. And we did a show, I think, in 1988, and I drew a sort of a ripoff of Avengers #1, where all the band members were members of the Avengers. And of course, Ant-Man was an original Avenger, and I drew myself as Ant-Man. And I would love to...
Did they bring that? Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
There he is.
That's that sweet new Johnny Quest LP that all the kids are digging.
Yeah, there's going to be a big reunion.
Is that you down on the drums?
That's me flying on the twin snare drum thing, substitute for the flying carpenter ant.
Peyton did not tell us this when we met him for the job. It wasn't until long into he's already been working on the film that he brought this out, and he didn't tell Paul. I just told Paul about it and Michael about it yesterday. So his fandom runs deep.
I'll get you a cassette of the music, Paul.
I have a Walkman right here. I could totally play it. I could totally play it on the Walkman. Paul Rudd, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Wow.
You've never been to Comic-Con. You've never sat up on this stage before.
This is my first time here. And
here at Con, they call that a Comic-Con virgin.
Yeah.
I'm a Comic-Con virgin. What?
Don't shout "pop the cherry" at him. That's disgusting.
I didn't even.
It's a human being. How dare you?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm popping my Comic-Con cherry.
This is it.
And it is as advertised. This is unbelievable.
If you're gonna do it with 7,000 people.
Hey, right? Yeah.
So, how does it feel to come into the Marvel universe as, what will probably be another tentpole? You're gonna be this guy for a while. What does that feel like?
It's a mind bender. It's so exciting. I'm so honored to be a part of it. It's really thrilling, and it's kind of tough to wrap my brain around. I mean, I've been doing this as a job for a while, but this is a whole other thing. And I'm excited by the challenges. I'm thrilled to be working with such great people, and looking forward to seeing how it all is.
Excellent. Mr. Michael Douglas. I never thought I would say this to you, but we're also popping your cherry as well. It's very awkward. But
I popped enough cherries, so. Might as well.
All right. Don't think I don't want to just talk about that for the next hour.
Oh, okay.
But what is the experience been like for you to come in as Hank Pym, and what do you see? What do you envision for the character?
Well, I've always vicariously looked at Marvel films from afar with tremendous envy. My entire career has been making up of doing kind of contemporary movies without any special effects or anything, to have the joy and the love of all these fantastic tools that so well done. And the Ant-Man story is a wonderful story, and so to be surrounded with Peyton, Paul, Evangeline, Corey, I'm just looking forward to a real trip. This is sort of based upon a comic and started out in 1962. Stan Lee wrote it about a Dr. Henry Pym, who was an endocrinologist, also physicist, a metallurgist, and basically developed a serum to make a person reduce themselves to the size of an ant, but with the strength of a human being, and then went beyond that, more importantly, to learn how to communicate with ants, because ants are armies.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is basically the story of a heist. His partner, Corey, plays that role, which has taken the company in a different evil direction. And I have found a mentor in Paul to take over my position as Ant-Man. The only trouble is that Paul is in such great shape, such incredible shape, that the physique, the Ant-Man bodysuit just didn't, we had to soften it up. You know what I mean? Just to make him look good.
Startling.
We're the first Marvel movie that's spending a lot of money on CGI to remove muscles from our hero.
Smooth those out. You don't want to.
It's where most of the budget is going.
Let's just bring it down to a 4-pack, Paul. Evangeline Lilly, who has been all over Hall H today. You've just been back and forth.
I was looking out in the crowd and I was like, hang on a minute. I saw these people this morning.
Oh, yeah, they stay here all day. They don't leave.
You guys. Gray wig. You're the comment girl in the front. She always has something to say. The pop the cherry girl.
Yeah. You don't want to be referred to as that. But tell us about Hope Van Dyne and what your experience has been like so far.
My experience so far has been just evading the press. That's generally been my experience on Ant-Man. I've been at Comic-Con for 2 days now answering questions about Ant-Man, but officially saying I'm not in Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very glad to announce it. I'm super happy to be here. I'm obviously playing Hank Pym's daughter, Hope Pym, say that 5 times fast. And I can't tell you anything else about her because I don't know. I don't have a script.
Not yet. Now you're just at the point where you can say that you're in it.
I'm like, hi, I'm in it. I'm here. Glad to be here. Thanks, guys.
I mean, this has really been an incredible couple of years for you, just in terms of the scale of stuff that you're working on. So what is it? How do you sleep?
I don't do a lot of sleeping. Actually, in the last 6 months, I started learning meditative breathing practices, swear to God, just so I can get some sleep. I'm a mother. I'm producing my first children's book series and finishing up the Hobbit series and starting this one. So I'm having a great time. Con is kind of my world. I mean, everything, it seems like everything I've ever done on the screen, you guys are right in the fray. You're in the mix. Lost, right? So I started here in 2005, and I was in Hall H, and we were showing a television show that wasn't even on air yet, and this was still a packed auditorium, so much love to all of you. I love my people.
Corey Stahl, also here, who's playing a character by the name of Darren Cross. What can you tell us about Darren Cross, Corey?
I think that was about it. I was Hank Pym's mentee and a genius scientist as well. And I've taken over the company, and some very judgmental people may think that that's in an evil direction, but I think I'm just taking it into the future.
What can you, Kev? Can you tell us anything about Darren Cross?
I think he did a marvelous job. He does, at a certain point, obtain some Pym particles, and begins to give Ant-Man a run for his money, and again puts on a suit that is called the Yellow Jacket suit in the film, and causes havoc.
So Darren Cross actually will be Yellow Jacket in the film, which is not previously announced. Now, you have to keep all this stuff in the entire time. So Comic-Con for you must be like an incredible release where you can be open about everything.
Popping cherries release. This is a family event.
That's how families get made. That's how families get made.
Yes.
Some of them, a lot of them tonight. 7,000 families will get made tonight in a weird Comic-Con pyramid scheme. But you guys don't, you don't have any Ant-Man footage to show yet, right? Because you haven't started filming yet.
Well, no, we start filming in 2 weeks. We start filming on the 18th, Monday, August 18th in Atlanta. Come on, don't come by. So we haven't started filming the movie yet, but we filmed a little something to show you guys today. Thanks to Peyton, thanks to Paul, thanks to Michael, and thanks to some of the visual effects tests we have in the works. Here's a quick look at Ant-Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of Ant-Man now actually has to go make the movie. Here they are. Peyton Reed, Paul Rudd.
Actually have to go make Walking Dead. I mean, Chris, he's a hard worker. We talked about it last week. This panel definitely had more Kevin Feige in it than the second half of the MCU panel with the Avengers.
I want that sweater he was wearing, the Winter Soldier one.
Yeah, I know.
I want it so bad.
With the metal arm?
Yeah, I think I can figure out how to make one for myself. I found a pattern for how to make hoodies.
Would you put the shield on the other chest? He had the Captain America shield on the other side on the chest.
Oh my God, yeah, totally do that. But yeah, and no, I want to like not just have it just a gray thing. I want to make it look like it's metal, with the folding parts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Could you do that with material?
I've only made a couple of bits of clothing and I'm trying to work on a costume right now, but I think maybe I could.
Okay. Well, it was awesome. It really was. And I was taking a look at it the whole time going, Kevin knows how to dress.
Yes.
At least in a MCU panel.
Also, appearance-wise, Paul Rudd is a vampire. That guy has not
He hasn't aged in 20 years.
Clueless.
I know. I was taking a look at his filmography in 1995. He was in Clueless. I was like, it's the same dude.
I had a crush on him when he was in Clueless.
I did not have a crush on him.
It would be
Liar.
Agent 13 for the win.
And then I was watching Role Models was on the other day, and I was watching it. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm looking at him like, that guy just is not age.
I know, it's like him and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's some people get all the good genes, or else they literally bathe in the blood of virgins. I'm not real sure.
And it was very disturbing talking about virgins to hear that both Rudd and Douglas popped their cherry at this place.
And then to hear Michael Douglas just talking about cherries in general, and it got really creepy.
Yeah.
If you listen to the Comic-Con Nerdist that Chris Hardwick did later, they were talking about that, and somebody, I forget who, I think it was either Matt Myra or Jonah Ray, was like, isn't that how you got throat cancer? Because remember he was saying, right. Giving oral sex is how I got throat cancer. It's like, dude!
TMI.
Yes.
Or not enough. I mean, if you're going to go down that route, let's hear some details.
Yeah, seriously. But no, it's good cast. I mean, Corey Stoll, I forgot he was in this.
As Yellow Jacket?
Yes. And I like Corey Stoll. I really, really liked him on House of Cards. And I've been watching The Strain. And he's on that with a terrible wig. But he looks good with the shaved head. Just go with the shaved head.
To me, the person that stole this panel was Lily.
Yes. Evangeline Lilly is fantastic.
Well, she's been to a Comic-Con or two before.
She knows how to handle it, but...
Yeah, well, she played it. I mean, there's people that have been there before, and there's people that know how to work the room. She knew how to work the room. She definitely
knows how to work the room.
Yeah.
Just listening to her, again, on that Nerdist podcast, where you could just hear how enthusiastic she is to be there and how much fun she was having and how little sleep she had apparently had. She's an extremely entertaining person, and I don't know why I'm not following her on Twitter, so I'm probably going to have to correct that very soon.
I enjoyed her in Real Steel.
Yes, she was great.
Unlike a lot of people, I enjoy Real Steel immensely.
It's a fun movie.
I really like it.
I kind of wish they'd gone with the ending of the Twilight Zone episode where Hugh Jackman would crawl into the robot and then just get pounded into a pulp. But I guess that probably would not have sold the movie.
No, that would have gotten rid of the feel-goodness of the movie.
Yeah, just kind of not what they were going for. But
and then everything that I've seen from her in the Hobbit series was as her as an elf. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I honestly really like Toriel.
There are a few people in this world that make just you look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, you're an elf, and she's one of them.
Yeah, as somebody who is most decidedly not elf-like, yes, she is very much elf-like. I'm personally more like a hobbit.
Yeah, I have the picture to prove I'm closer to a dwarf.
I am definitely the size of a hobbit. A large hobbit, but I'm still the size of a hobbit.
I remember I was looking at some of the behind-the-scenes stuff for The Hobbit, like the movie, and they had the size charts that they used to try to know, how to consistently shrink down everybody. I am the size of a particularly large dwarf. This makes me unhappy. And apparently, habit-wise and just everything else, everyone's like, oh, she's a hobbit. And I have a friend who calls me a hobbit, and my husband refers to me going to visit the in-laws as taking the hobbit to Isengard. So I'm just kind of resigned to it now. I will never be an elf.
One of my favorite scenes in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Peter Jackson movies, of course, was when, of course, Gimli says, "Toss me!" It's one of my favorite scenes. It's great.
But yeah, you could tell that, all that prior experience with Lost and with Real Steel and just The Hobbit, I guess, last year, just did her a lot of good with this panel. Because I guess other than Kevin Feige, she was like the only one there with any real experience at Comic-Con.
Well, Peyton Reed came out and they made a point.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, they made a large point of saying...
Of the cast, though.
Right, but I mean... They began it by saying, okay, yeah, I'm Peyton Reed. I've got control of this movie. This is my 20th year here, and I was in a drummer in a band called Johnny Quest.
That picture that he drew with himself as Ant-Man was strangely prescient.
Yeah, I have no doubt it actually happened, but it's like... I don't
know. Every now and then you'll hear about stuff like that, and it's just like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
They're just at this point really trying to make a point that, they've got it under control. Ant-Man's not on fire or anything.
I wish it would be on fire. That would make it interesting.
Not in the good way.
Either way would make it good to me right now. I'm not psyched about this. I mean, Michael Douglas is an incredibly talented actor. I've loved a lot of the stuff that he's done. I'm not interested in him in this movie.
I'm intrigued in the idea of a heist movie.
Yeah, true.
I do like, of all the Ant-Men that there have been, I do like Scott Lang the best. Right now, he's one of the main characters in the Future Foundation FF book, and it's a tremendously entertaining book. And I am a huge fan of his daughter, Cassie, who I have talked about, extensively and frequently in the past. But I really wish that they hadn't written out Janet. I
was getting ready to say the same thing.
Yeah, I just, it rubs me the wrong way. It really rubs me the wrong way. I think it's because they wanted to have a love interest for Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's character.
Mm-hmm.
And that is obviously going to be Hope Van Dyne.
Mm-hmm.
But just,
it just doesn't sit right.
No, it doesn't sit right with me at all. And I like Evangeline Lilly, and in general, I'm fine with the idea of legacy characters, but just it rubs me the wrong way that they wrote her out. And
she's a founding Avenger.
Exactly.
She gave the Avengers their name.
Yes. And just coming off of being such a fan of like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where she's just such a great character. And she's already not in the current ongoing Avengers Assemble show because she's not in the movies. And now she probably won't be on that show because she won't be in the movies. And just, again, just frustrated, just very frustrated over this whole thing. I'm trying to keep an open mind about the movie, but I'm already starting off with such low expectations.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. But Kevin Feige started out the panel basically by saying Guardians comes out next week. It's the 10th movie, and it always starts in this room, meaning Hall H at SDCC. And he's been right about that. He's been right so far. Out of the 10 movies, you can argue that you like a couple less than everything else, but they're still good movies. They still have made a lot of money, and they still all fit in the same universe. So I hate to say it, I really do, because I don't want to, but I'm going to have to reserve judgment on Ant-Man until it actually comes out. I'm not excessively looking forward to it at this point in time, but I've said that before, and it's turned out great. So it is what
I'm
it
really
is.
hoping that maybe everyone thinks Janet Van Dyne's dead, and in reality, she's like
pulling the strings in the background.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so.
You know, it could be like that final scene in the last X-Men movie when Hugh Jackman goes back into the Xavier school, and who does he find? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the Ant-Man movie won't be good as it is, but it could have been a good movie without completely destroying Jan Van Dyne.
Okay. Fair enough. Although she could be a surprise cast, like you two ladies were saying.
Right.
Maybe you just gave away the whole movie.
I hope that I did, because like she's not in like say my top 5 favorite characters, but it's one of those things where like you never know how much you like a character until something bad happens to them. I stopped reading the Ultimate line of comics for the longest time after what happened to her in Ultimatum. I was furious at what happened to her in Secret Invasion. It's like, she just keeps getting screwed over in recent years. Can't we just let Janet Van Dyne have a good time?
Yeah, like Agent 13. We need to let her have a good time. Now, Lauren, you just mentioned something that makes me curious. I don't know if you're prepared to do it right now or not, but we need to do it at some point in time. You mentioned your top 5 Marvel characters. Can you name them right now, or are we going to have to wait a little bit?
Oh, geez. Okay, let's see. Just top of my head, top 5 Marvel characters. Jessica Jones, Megan Gwynn, Pixie from X-Men, Magneto, Kate Bishop, Emma Frost.
Interesting. I don't know enough about the universe to even make a stab at it. All I would do would be naming people out of the 10 movies. Haley, do you want to take a stab at it, or you want to take your time?
I'm torn about how to do it, because I could do it about the comics I've read up to this point, or I could do it based on like the cartoons and stuff I watched as a kid.
Can you do a combination, or it's one or the other?
They're so different.
Yeah, they really are. I did mine based off the comics.
Tell you what, why don't you do one off the comics as a kid?
The cartoons when I was a kid?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then Rogue is my favorite.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Rogue, then probably Spider-Man.
I'd have to put Spider-Man in there too. I mean, I watched Spidey when I was a kid.
Well, who didn't?
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Remember the Aerosmith theme song from the 90s?
Black Cat.
Black Cat.
Gambit.
All right.
And, God, who's going to be number 5?
Now, this is on the spot, so I'm not going to hold you to.
Right. Well, and there were also only really 2 shows at the time. There was Spider-Man and the X-Men.
Yeah,
so
there were more, but they weren't really that good.
Yeah. There's some others that came later. And, geez, number 5, probably the Beast.
All right. Now, if you wanted to name my top 5 characters from Star Blazers or Robotech, I could do that off the top of my head. I can't do this. So it'll be interesting as we go forward. I might put something like this together. But fans, if you have a top 5 characters from the Marvel Universe, pick whatever.
It could be movieverse, could be TV, could be comics, just any.
Get it to us in any way, format you want. You can tweet us, you can email us, you can throw it on our Facebook, you can send us a voicemail, whatever. Any method of communicating with us, we'll try to consolidate them and get back to you in a couple of weeks. We'll give you a couple of weeks, because I know the release schedule hasn't been that stellar lately. My bad. But we'll go ahead and we'll do that. Probably the cast that we'll be doing on the September 11th timeframe. We'll go ahead and get your results back then if we get enough response. So anyway, do you guys have anything else you want to say about the Ant-Man panel?
About the panel itself, I wish that we could see what they got shown.
Yeah, like the CGI video or whatever they put together.
Yeah, but I didn't know what to look for, so I didn't get it. get to see if anybody had put it up.
Me neither. Haley, you got anything?
Not really. It's a long wait between movies right now, though.
It is, but thank goodness we have a TV show coming up.
Got a couple of them.
Yeah, there you go. I honestly, at this point in time, I'm excited for both, but I'm 51% excited for Agent Carter and 49% excited for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because, we've got all those mysteries in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to solve, but Agent Carter, that's just going to be, it's so new and exciting.
Come on, it's Haley Atwell.
I know, I'm like 70-30 for Agent Carter versus Agent S.H.I.E.L.D.
All right, but they're both going to be fun, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys are done next week, what we're going to do is we had 1 week where we kind of had to sandwich something in there, and we decided to go watch the 1985, 86 movie, whatever, Howard the Duck.
Let's just call it the very, very 80s Howard the Duck.
And I know Beef, I know they actually podcast on Legends Podcast at the same night that we do. So Beef he's a phenomenal proponent of Howard the Duck. He just loves it. So I might ask him to record a little segment or something. But if he doesn't, no big deal. You'll hear all about it on Legends Podcast. Another podcast on the Gonna Geek Network, and we have to congratulate them. They got shoehorned into iTunes new and noteworthy section, and well-deserved, gentlemen. Well deserved. But that's what we're going to be doing next week, is we're going to be watching Howard the Duck, and I'm not sure, I haven't even looked into how to get a hold of a copy, so we'll have to run through that. But in the meantime, contact us.
We'll find some VHS tapes.
Yeah, I actually have a VCR.
You can probably find it really cheap at a half price.
Probably. So until then, you can.
Oh my God! It has a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't think it was that bad.
We're
gonna have a lot to talk about then.
The only reason we're watching it, of course, is because Howard the Duck was shown in the final scene of Guardians of the Galaxy. So, spoiler for any of those who haven't seen it yet, you missed out. Okay, so contact us on any of the news. If you want to talk about Ant-Man, if you want to talk about the top 5, if you want to tell me why I'm wrong and try your chance at winning Coulson's badge, contact us at our website, legendsofshield.com. That'll bring you to our page on the GonnaGeek.com website. Our voicemail line is 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871. You can get us on Facebook or Twitter, search for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And also, don't forget the forums we've got on the Gonna Geek Network. We've had a few conversations on there. It's kind of fun. If you have a smartphone, download the free Tapatalk app and search for Gonna Geek, and it will take you to our forums. I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you, Willie, for sending your voicemail in. And thank you, everybody, for listening, because without you, we're just 3 people talking to ourselves.
Which, we could do, but it wouldn't be as fun. So thanks.
Well, until next week, I'm Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Lauren.
We'll see you next week now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com, where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.